Hello, everyone. Chris Adsit here. Now, today we're going to have an interesting update. This is for Arrowhead's annual meeting and budget hearing. There were two meetings that happened this evening. The first one was a budget hearing, and the business manager for the district, Jeff Gross, from the administrative team, presents a financial update for our district. In addition, he provides a budget overview for the upcoming school year. We just finally got our enrollment numbers in, and we're working on right now the amount of funding that we're getting from the state. Those numbers are being finalized now, and at the end of the month, the board will vote to finally approve of the proposed budget. Now, if you're not aware, schools are funded very uniquely. They're funded by primarily two different sources, primarily state aid and local property taxes. Now, when you have a property rich area, that means the values of our homes are high. You get less state aid. When you're in a property poor area, you get more state aid. So what that means is the vast majority of our school operating funds come from local taxes, mostly, with less coming from state aid. Now, Jeff goes through and does a really good job of explaining how schools are funded. Please, if you're interested, go to the YouTube page for the Arrowhead School Board and watch his presentation. It's eye-opening. I learn from him every time he talks. He takes us through the historical financial performance of the district and also how it relates to other districts and the state itself. So it's very, very helpful. It also helps explain the impact of some of the legislative decisions that impact how schools are funded. So very important stuff. If you're interested, please go there. I'm not going to be able to do it justice. I will give you the very high level. Fiscally, we've been very responsible for many years. So when you look at the performance of Arrowhead compared to, say, the mill rate, the taxes, or the amount of money that the school operates on for the budget, for the number of students we have, and the performance is incredible. I'll fill you in on a little more of that from the superintendent's report in a minute. But value in versus value out, we get a significantly higher return in Arrowhead than many of the other districts when you compare how they're funded. There are many districts, many local districts that are getting significantly more money pumped into their schools than Arrowhead, yet our performance is better in many ways. So I applaud our administrative team, our teachers, our community. Arrowhead's in a good place. Jeff's other takeaway was property valuation in our area has gone up again significantly. When that happens and your property values go up, the amount of state aid, financial aid, comes down. So even though our costs go up, when the state aid comes down, that means our local property taxes go up. And that's not something that the school district can control. That is finances from the overall state perspective. The good news is the mill rate, so how we affect taxes on the tax levy, went down by 0.01, so down 1 penny per thousand. So that's good. But the problem is our property values went up. So there will be a tax increase locally from property taxes. But again, a large portion of that came from a reduction in state aid. We saw about almost $1 million less in state aid than we did the previous school year. And that has to be made up somewhere. And the legislature says, look, schools can have so much support. But that support comes from local taxes, not from the state budget. So we will see a small increase there in property tax. The good news is the mill rate over the last decade plus has consistently gone down. Where it was, and again, Jeff's presentation is really good, so I encourage you to watch it. Where it was versus where it is, we are extremely low in our tax rate. Again, when you compare it to other similar districts. So that was really high level. Again, my perspective only. Please watch the meeting. You'll learn a whole lot more, much more detail from Jeff. And then Conrad Farner, the superintendent, gave an update on the district. The performance, what's been happening. There were some things I learned that were incredible. I'll give you an example. The kids, the community, they're amazing. We already knew they were amazing kids. But from a service standpoint and engagement in the community, they're off the charts. Did you know that they performed over 130 different service and outreach programs last year? 130. Over 10,000 hours of volunteer and service time, again, for our community, raising thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for local community charities, etc. So we've got some really good kids. Another good turn of events is our academic performance has turned around. It's finally going up. If you weren't aware, there was a little bit of a downward trend over last 9 years or so. We now have turned the corner. The block schedule that was implemented about a year or two ago is finally, I think it was a year ago, is finally making a difference. The way we teach is getting a little bit better. We're revamping things to be more effective in today's society, and it's showing up in the test scores. So our average ACT score went up. Great news. But on the other side too, not just general, if you looked at the advanced placement tests, so these are the ones where kids go and they take the test and then they get college credit for these courses. Not only did we have 200 more tests taken, which in and of itself is an incredible number, we saw an increase there as well. Now, normally when you have an increase in the number, especially a significant number of increasing people who take the test, you tend to see a little bit of a downward overall performance. We saw both go up. So again, from a performance standpoint, things are going very, very well. Now, at the meeting, the only community actions that we're taking, because again, remember, this is the meeting of the electors, not just the board, but the community. There were only 2 things decided on, all unanimous. The first one was on board member salaries. So the board is paid a small stipend for all the work that we do all year long. And the board and the community together collectively, unanimously voted to keep the pay schedule the exact same. So no raises. Don't worry, we don't do this for the money. And then the second thing was the electors, all those present, and then the board vote on the proposed budget. And again, the proposed budget, it's not quite final, it's getting there. That was also approved. So the big takeaway is, from a financial standpoint, even though we do have a lot of repairs and things that are needed in the Arrowhead campus, financially we're doing a good job. We're taking very good care of your money, and we're spending it wisely in the schools to keep things as good as possible with 2 campuses and the inefficiencies that those bring. We've done some really good things over the last year with improving performance, behavior, and even safety in the halls. So again, from a taxpayer perspective and my overview, I'm very pleased with where things are going. My hat's off to the administration and the business team for what they're working on. And from a parent in the community and a community member, I'm really thrilled with the investment and the return that we're seeing at Arrowhead. If you find the video helpful, please let me know. If you have additional questions, reach out to me at my school email address at Arrowhead. But again, remember, these videos are my summaries. It's just to give you high level. I really encourage you, come to the meetings. We'd love to see more people there. But at the very least, watch it on our YouTube channel. Get all the details and facts for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. These are just high overviews. But I strongly encourage you, if you have any interest whatsoever in learning about school funding, your taxes, how they're calculated, and what it looks like in the future, watch the presentation by Jeff Gross. It's really good. Okay, that's it for tonight. I appreciate you. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for supporting our schools and taking the time to even watch this video. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. God bless you and our entire community.